You guys ready? Well, just waiting on Chisanga. You good? Just kidding. Well, Cory, 48 hours out from one of the bigger nights in UK MMA history. What are your thoughts so close to the event now?
Just excited, to be honest. Like, it's been a long time coming, so it's going to be great to, get in there, see the crowd, and
Sorry about that. It's obviously been a long time since we last saw you inside the octagon. What specifically kept you out of? I know there was like some health issues or some injuries or anything. But what specifically happened?
Yeah, well, obviously I tore the ankle in the last fight, so that took a little while to recover from. I had to have like full reconstruction and everything, so that set me back. And then booked the fight with Whitmire, but had some some health complications, kind of bit of a mystery. But that took a few months to clear up, and then by that time, like nearly a year had passed or whatever, and pushed to get on the London card. So. Yeah.
And obviously, your opponent, Elise Reed. Were you happy with the matchup? Were you excited? Did you know anything about her? And if you didn't, did you go and watch tape? And what did you make of her skill set?
Yeah, obviously, like when I watch tape, when I'm offered the opponent, I'm excited by any matchup. I just like to get in there, get in there and fight. So whoever they offered, really. But yeah, when I watch some tape, she's solid, like as to be expected at this level. Like I think it's just stereotypical like striker versus grappler kind of setup, but she's no slouch on the ground, and I've obviously got some accolades and been working hard on my striking, so I think it's going to be a pretty well-rounded fight, and hopefully it's nice and entertaining for the crowd.
And finally, we've spoken with a lot of UK-based MMA fighters. They've been around for a while. Molly even was talking. She remembers when she sparred you when you were like very young. Have you felt this sense of historic moment leading up to this fight, even though you are so young in your career?
Yeah, like I say, like I'm sharing the card with like the who's who of UK MMA, like people that I've known since I was like a kid. Like say I went and sparred with Molly. Would have been like 15.
Yeah, that's what she was saying.
Yeah, before I even made my amateur MMA, debut. So, it's really cool for things to come full circle. Like I say, I'm sharing the card with everyone like that I've known growing up, everyone that I've watched growing up, people that I've I've shared cards with before, or I've trained with. So it's going to be really cool. Like I think it's the first experience for me of like actually having that like you say.
Cory, first UFC fight on UK soil. How does it feel? Obviously, it's different from competing in Las Vegas at the Apex and then competing in America. So, how excited are you to be competing in the UK? And obviously, I'm sure there's lots of friends and family who've turned out for this one.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Like I said, this is kind of like my first UFC experience. I haven't fought in front of a crowd for like 3 years, and it's a great opportunity. Like all my friends, all my family are coming out. So yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to be a huge event, and like I say, the support from the English and the Welsh and everyone, like it's going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Cory, just at the back here. Can you talk a little bit about your preparations going into this fight? Obviously, you train over at Team Alpha Male, and I saw you also pictured with Macy Barber as well. Can you talk a little bit about camp?
Yeah, so I've been based at Team Alpha Male since I fought on Contenders. Been living there for the last couple of years. Macy, plays a huge part in my camp. I've been working with Joey Rodriguez, Uriah Faber, Danny Castillo, like all the top coaches as well. So, it's just been great. Like I train full time, year round. So I've been prepared. Even with the injuries, I was working around them and getting my stuff in. So make sure that I'm making the improvements needed. So I've been ready since my last fight. Just kind of had to deal with a few hiccups on the way. I'm really grateful for my training partners. I got Macy Barber and Yan fought on the weekend. She's there now too. So got some really high level training partners and top coaches and everything. So feeling well prepared.
And how are you feeling preparing to go into the atmosphere at the O2 Arena? Obviously the first time back with the crowd, UFC returns to London. There's going to be a massive atmosphere. How are you preparing to take that all in?
Yeah, luckily with Cage Warriors, I feel like we had that kind of experience. Obviously, it's not going to be at such a large scale, but Cage Warriors wasn't at such a large scale, obviously. But you know, I've had that crowds, I've had the lights, I've had the camera, the full experience. So I feel like it's nothing that I've not experienced before. It's just going to be at like a greater scale. So I feel like if anything, the atmosphere is just going to be amplified, and you know, the emotions will be running high going in there. And luckily, you know, all I ever feel is excitement and prepared to go. So it's going to be fun.
How do you see the fight going down on Saturday?
Yeah, obviously, I always aim for like a finish. I'm not gonna call it. Like I say, I've been preparing all around with the best coaches. So wherever it goes, like I'm sure I can get it done. So I'll just be looking to put on a well-rounded performance and hunt that finish. And put on an exciting fight for everybody.
Thank you.
Cory, you said when you were chatting to us previously that you were possibly overtraining quite a lot, and you said that maybe you'd have to dial things back a little bit, especially because of the health stuff that was going on. Have you maintained that mindset? Because we spoke to Arnold Allen a little while ago, and he doesn't believe at all that you're going to take it easy.
So I've actually, yeah, Arnold's here as the co-main, but he's also been assigned as my babysitter. Jack's given him strict instructions that if they see me sneaking off to get any extra training sessions in, he's to wrestle me. So yeah, I mean, they know what I'm like, but I have been a lot smarter. You know, I am approaching this correct. I have listened to him, listened to all my coaches. You know, like even leading up to the fight, you know, like completely just listening to my body, listening to my coaches, doing what needs to be done, you know, as opposed to just doing everything. And I think it'll make a huge difference in this fight. Like I feel a lot more like fine-tuned and like focused as opposed to just trying to do like say everything, you know, quality over quantity. But yeah, I've definitely being held accountable on that too.
Well, thanks very much. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Corey? Just
Yep,
down here.
yeah, hi.
Hey, you're right.
Yeah.
So up until very recently, you were the youngest UFC fighter on the roster, and I believe that record was taken by someone else who's fighting on this card, Mohamed Mukayev. You're still currently the youngest female fighter on the roster, but one record that can't ever be taken away from you is that you are the first female Welsh fighter in the UFC. Just put into words, how much does that mean to you?
Yeah, that's huge. Like you say, like that's a title that no one's ever going to take away from me. And you know, something that's like, you know, means a lot to me and my family. Like, you know, they've invested in me from the jump, so it's cool for me to be able to go out there and like, you know, reach this level and be kind of what was I say? I lost track. Sorry, can't wait. It's, you know, it's nice for me to be able to hold that title and like kind of like be able to be like the forefront for women's MMA. And I hope that, you know, I know there's a lot of women on the amateur scene. There's a lot of like young girls on the scene, you know, like early teenagers that, you know, it would be nice to see them come through and be kind of like, you know, able to like help that or like lead the way, if anything.
And throughout your career, you've been in the same gyms as Arnold Allen, Jack Shaw, who just happened to be on this card with you as well. How much inspiration do you take from seeing what they've done so far in their UFC careers?
Yeah, it's great. Like growing up, I always said like the people that I looked up to were the people that I saw on the mats around me. You know, like early in my amateur days when I was still in school, like I was seeing like say Arnold and everyone like grafting on the mats, putting in that work, and kind of just like say like gave me that template, like let me know that like what I need to do if I do want to succeed. So you know, like say like when I was training at Tillary, like I saw all the boys like putting in all the work. Like I know that they're gonna be, you know, just as well prepared going into these fights as I feel like I am, and that's really cool for me. Like.
And just final one from me, Corey. Fighting aside, I speak to a lot of fighters and they tell me that at school it wasn't really for them. However, you really loved school. So I just wanted to know, what was your favourite subject in school? And you said that you'd probably be studying at university. So two things. What was your favourite subject in school? And if you were studying at university right now, what would you be studying?
Yeah, so when I was like 2, I turned to my mum and was like, oh, I want to be a scientist. So that was probably what I would have pursued if I hadn't fought. I am a firm believer if you don't use it, you lose it. So I'm not sure please don't quiz me on anything. But yeah, like I was like a huge book nerd and stuff like that. So yeah, probably like the science route, which kind of transfers a little bit into fighting as well, I think.
Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Corey, here at the back, right here. You know, you mentioned having Macy Barber as a training partner. You mentioned, you know, Mukayev being on the same card. Both of those are fighters who have kind of set a deadline for themselves to become champion. Mukayev talked about that today. Do you have any sort of deadline like that in terms of where you want to be at a certain age?
No, one thing I've kind of learned is like with this sport, there's too much unpredictability and like too much variability, like too many like variables going into it. Like, I've had a lot of injuries. I've had a lot of long layoffs too. Really, if you like look at it, like, I think this is like the second time I've had like nearly an 18-month layoff in my career, which, given that I'm so young, that's quite a lot. So one thing I've kind of realized is, like, I can't set necessarily like time dates like that, because all I'm going to do is, disappoint myself. For me, it's like a case of, I know that will come. When it comes, I don't mind. I know that I'm working hard and I'm going to do my best to get there as soon as possible, but I'm not putting stress on, like how fast I get there or anything. I'm going to trust the process and take things one fight at a time.
How nice is it to not be the youngest fighter on the card for a change?
I never really valued the age thing too much. Like, say I was 15 fighting 30-year-old women. Like, I never really, if anything, I spent my whole, like, growing up trying to, like, fight that whole, like, kid versus woman kind of thing. Like, for me, it's the age never really played a part, because I have so much experience despite my age. So yeah, like, it's not like necessarily like a nice thing to not be the youngest. Obviously, it was, it's, for me, it's something that never really played into my mind, because I go into every fight feeling well experienced and prepared.
Well, it doesn't play a role for you, maybe. Do you think opponents look at you a certain way because of your age and maybe even overlook you?
I for sure think there's probably like an element of underestimating me. Like, say I'm young, I'm not necessarily the most like biggest, scariest person looking, but like for me that only plays in my favor. They're going in there with false confidence or whatever, and I can just prove that wrong. So it doesn't make a difference to me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Cory, I know this is your first fight in the UK and the UFC, but how eager are you to eventually bring the UFC to Wales along with Jack Shore?
Yeah, like I say, the Welsh MMA scene is buzzing right now. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to bring it to Wales eventually. Like, I think they definitely sell out. The way the Welsh crowd gets behind the fighters and everything. And I don't see them having any trouble filling the card like that. So it would be great to see that in the future for sure.
Other than your friends and family, are you expecting a big contingent showing up this weekend?
Yeah, like I say, like all my friends and family are showing up, and then obviously you got all the other people on the card. So I'm sure that crowd is going to be absolutely wild and fully behind all of the fighters from the UK.
Cheers. Thank you.
One from me, Cory. Amongst all the training and everything, have you still managed to find time to do some painting? And if so, are you working on anything at the moment?
I haven't actually, as of late. I've kind of just been focusing on this fight, probably like for the last like 6 to 8 weeks. Just kind of like put down the pencil, picked up the gloves. Like I say, I train full time year round. But once we're in camp, I get a little bit more like focused. Like, all I want to do is eat, sleep, and train. Especially once you're cutting weight and everything, you start like needing that extra time. So I haven't really been doing too much. Just kind of focusing a bit more on this fight and really tailoring it in.